Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunchtime Detroit Lions Talk, brought to you by Belly Up Sports. And today we're going to talk about Aaron Glenn to be the next DC for the Detroit Lions. Maybe. Okay, we'll get into that. We're going to get into the press conference for Brad Holmes yesterday. Lots to break down there. We have Detroit Lions news and rumors. As always, the question of the day, the dessert with Curt. And speaking of Curt, my main man is right here, and I'm going to pitch it to him.
All right, what up, though, people? You know who we are. We are Detroit Lions on the Prowl, your home for Detroit Lions news and rumors. Subscribe to the channel, join the family, like the video, share the videos, comment on the videos. All of this helps us get this content to more Lions fans just like yourself. And join us weekdays, 11 a.m. right here on our channel for the premieres of our show. If you missed the show and you want to watch it, go over and jump on the channel. If you want to listen to it, you can go over and at the link down below, and you can get a podcast version, the audio version of our show each day, and we will have it down there so you can go back to and listen to the show that you missed earlier in the day. That's just if you're working out, or you have some people work out in the evenings, or you go cook dinner, go ahead and click us on, and you can listen to me and Jim get down every day with the Lunchtime Detroit Lions Talk. Now, speaking of that, let's get this thing started
right now.
Let's go.
Welcome back to the show, everybody, and we're going to go right to the main course, which is Aaron Glenn to be the next DC for the Detroit Lions. Maybe? I don't know. What do you got on this, Curt?
All right, so the caveat is that Josina Anderson reported on Twitter yesterday, former ESPN personality, that Aaron Glenn may not be a lock for the defensive coordinator position for the Lions. She said that there are multiple teams looking at Aaron, and there's an multiple team that Glenn are looking at themselves, but Detroit is one of them, but he may decide to go elsewhere. So let's kind of look at him holistically. Aaron Glenn, 48 years old, former NFL player. He went to college at Texas A&M University out there in Texas. He was the Southwest Newcomer of the Year in 1992. 1992-93, he was all Southwest Conference. 93, he was a consensus All-American, three-time Pro Bowler, three-time All-Pro, 2003 Ed Block Courage Award winner. He's part of the the New York Jets All-Team Decade for the 2000s, and he is definitely a Aggie pride. So he is a Texas A&M Sports Hall of Fame inductee in 2000. For more on his player career, Jim, what you got?
His career history as a player, he attended Nimitz High School in Houston, Texas, where he posted over 1,000 rushing yards, 200 receiving yards, and 7 interceptions as a senior. That's that going both ways again, running back and DB. Glenn first attended Navarro College in Corsicana, Texas, where as a sophomore, he won all conference and junior college All-American honors after posting 2 interceptions, 60 tackles, 15 pass deflections. He then transferred to his alma mater, Texas A&M University, where he played for the Texas A&M Aggies football team in 92 and 93. And he was as a senior in 1993, he registered 27 tackles, 13 pass defense, and he led the nation with 19.2 punt return average. So he added a little more to his game there. 94 to 2001, Glenn was selected by the New York Jets in the first round, 12th overall in the 1994 NFL Draft. He played his first 8 seasons in the NFL with the Jets. In 96, he set the team record for the longest interception return, a 100-yard touchdown against the Miami Dolphins. And who doesn't do that? Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, who don't do that?
Right?
It's the Dolphins. You know what I'm saying.
2002 to 2004, Glenn was acquired by the Houston Texans through 2002 NFL expansion draft. Hard to believe they were an expansion team and they
wow. Yeah, that's very true.
He started 16 games at left corner and registered 75 tackles, 5 interceptions, 16 pass defense, and 1 sack. He and teammate Gary Walker became the first Texans to reach the NFL Pro Bowl in 2002.
Wow. All right.
2005. Oh,
Ooh, go ahead.
2005 to 2006, Dallas Cowboys. Glenn signed with Dallas. I guess that makes sense, right? Before 2005, reuniting him with Bill Parcells, who was the head coach of the New York Jets. Glenn signed with Jacksonville in 2007. He was with New Orleans, but was limited to 2 games with an ankle injury in 2008. After 5 seasons away from the Texans on July 28, 2010, Glenn signed a 1-day contract so he could retire a Texan. And that was his playing career. For his coaching career, we go to Curt.
All right. So some of his coaching and other administrative duties. In 2012, he was the general manager of the Houston Stallions. Now, they're a professional indoor football team that competed in the Lone Star Football League. Now, going into his other career, he was a scout for the New York Jets. He went back to the Jets in 2012 to 2013 as a personnel scout. Then he went ahead and put on the whistle and became a assistant defensive backs coach for the Browns in 2014, 2015. He left the Cleveland to go to New Orleans, where he has been the defensive back coach since 2016. Let's kind of look at a little bit of his playing career stats. As an NFL, he had recorded 634 total tackles. He had 6 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 41 interceptions, 2,692 return yards, and 8 total touchdowns during his playing career.
He was good. I remember him.
He was very good. I remember Aaron Glenn. I remember his playing career very well. He was one of those guys where you kind of wished that he could be on your team because he was just that good of a player.
Yeah, and so a little bit about him that I see is he's from the kind of Bill Parcells thing, but so is someone else that we may have as a head coach. Dan Campbell's a disciple of him as well as Bill Parcells. Yeah. And so they also work together in New Orleans. So if we do get him, number one, there's a lot of connection, and I think there's a lot of synergy between him and the defensive coordinator. My drawback is we still have no experience at any position except for head coach for what? Few games?
Yeah, half a season or something like that. So,
yeah. 12 games, I think it was, something like that.
Yeah, 12 games. I think it's 5 and 7. Yeah, I think it's
12
5
games.
and 7.
And out of the GM, the coach, and the defensive coordinator, their combined experience at their position is 6 months or what? 12 games.
Yeah.
That is not, it's not what I feel is going to be good. So my opinion, right? This is only my opinion. It could go one of 2 ways.
Right.
We could have found the GM diamond in the rough, the coach diamond in the rough, and the defensive coordinator diamond in the rough that are all up and comers that are all going to work together and all going to be superstars. Or we will be rebuilding again in 5 years.
My thoughts on Glenn is that I know he's an up and coming star. His name is on that coordinator carousel,
and the head coaching one too. He actually interviewed for head coaching position.
So you look at him. I would say this: the kind of proofs that's in the pudding for me is how he coaches. New Orleans has a really good secondary, and they have a really good defense. So if he can bring some of that defensive philosophy from New Orleans to Detroit, I'm all for it.
You think of some of our young corners too, like Okuda and Awarie. That might help a great deal here as well.
He could be very good and instrumental in making their careers better, especially with Awarie. I didn't see the talent with Awarie his first year, but that second year, last year, this last season, he just really blossomed into a better corner.
At the end of year one, in the beginning, he was terrible, but in the end of year one, you started seeing signs that he could be something.
Yeah, so I think he's something, and I think if we can get Okuda healthy, he could be a good solid corner. Or even if it's just a defensive back, like we said before, I would like to see him switch to safety. I think he has those skill sets, but depends on how his injuries heal and the surgery. Can he get back to full strength, and be able to run like he was running at Ohio State? I like the Aaron Glenn hire. I like the fresh new blood. I do like that. So I do like the new kind of turn the corner. Let's not go in that same direction as far as some of the older long in the tooth guys.
Yeah, but Bob Quinn had no experience, and neither did Matt Patricia.
Oh, well, I think for them, the thing with me that's different for those guys is that I just got the sense of they were just kind of a matter of fact that we're going to bring the Patriot way to Detroit.
Yep.
They try to disguise it as not the Patriot way. We're going to build the Lions way. No, even you saying it that way is the Patriot way. Yep. I mean, that's just it for me, for those guys. But am I completely sold on Aaron Glenn? Absolutely not. I would rather have a Wade Phillips or somebody who's established. And it's not like Wade Phillips has been that far removed from the game. His age is one thing, but his ability to coach is another. And he has always been a good coordinator. Even with his age, he's able to adapt as an older gentleman in the game.
I agree with that. And I would have like maybe a cornerbacks coach or a defensive line coach or somebody in the wings that that is an up and comer that he could train to be the next guy. You know, I believe in that. And so, well, let's just wait and see, because we don't even know he's going to be our DC now. It was a done deal. Dan Rappaport reported it was a done deal. Sometimes I don't rely on him so much because he's been doing that before, where he said, "Oh yeah, this is a done deal," and then it falls through. Yeah, so I've seen that a few times with him. So if Adam Schefter reports it, it's pretty much a done deal. But anyone else, just kind of hold the phone a bit.
Yeah, Shefty pretty much gets it right.
He always gets it right. I don't know. Yeah. He's got Goodell on speed dial and everybody else. So, it's easy for him, man.
Yeah.
So let's go into a little bit, because we were talking about Brad Holmes. We're talking about, how all the new faces, but the one guy that is set in stone right now is Brad Holmes. And he had a press conference yesterday, his introductory press conference. What were your takeaways from that presser?
Very intelligent young man. I say young man because he's a few years younger than me.
He's younger than us.
Yeah, he's younger than us. I will say he has some different ideas. I would say he was nervous. You can tell that he's kind of pacing back and forth. Probably not adept at public speaking as some of the more poised individuals that we've had in Detroit. But one thing I like is his passion. He has a good grasp of scouting. So
yes, he does.
And he uses analytics, but he uses it as a tool. So basically, he said, yes, analytics is a part of it, and I can break down a player based on his analytics, but I look at it and they still have to pass the kind of the eye test deal. Mm-hmm. So he looks at it in a different time. I would say this about him. He's not a Detroit son, so he's not from the area, but he had his uncle play for the Lions.
Right.
So here's the deal.
There's a connection.
He's a relative that just became family. Now, there's a difference between a relative and family. Family is somebody that's close to you and you're with them all the time. A relative is just somebody that you have a connection with by your bloodline. But he is a relative that now is part of the family. He grew up watching the Lions football, going to Lions games. So he knows the culture. And one of the things that really kind of stuck out for me is that he was a PR intern for the Rams, but he also interviewed Alan Park to be a PR intern for the Lions, and just happened to choose St. Louis. But it came full circle, and he's where he wants to be and where I think he belongs. I know that Sheila Ford Hamp and Rod Wood, they kept saying the catchphrases where you probably could get sloshed playing a drinking game, blown away, and I think mine was he said great question. So if I'd have drank a shot every time he said great question, I probably wouldn't be recording right now because I watched the show.
My word was process for him.
Oh, okay, process. Okay,
you have to drink every time he says process, and every time Sheila Ford Hamp or Rod Wood says says he blew me away.
Blew me
So
away.
every time they say that, you have to take a drink.
You got to take a drink.
You're welcome for the drinking game.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Belly Up Sports and Detroit Lions on the Prowl. That's a joke, guys.
You know what did you? Here's my thing. And if you want to watch the press conference, you can go over to DetroitLions.com, or you can go on their YouTube channel and watch the entire press conference in its entirety, to include the questions and answers from Sheila Ford Hemp and Rod Wood. So, what did you really think about, as a whole, the presser for Brad Holmes?
As a whole, I thought that he came across as really nervous, but I think he's a nerd. I mean, not to be rude, but I think he's kind of this person. He's not an extrovert. He's an introvert. He's really good at what he does. He's fantastic with numbers. But there were things that I caught through the press conference that I kind of wanted to address. So there's things that I saw. One, this is a retool, not a rebuild. He was very careful to say that quite a few times, that he feels like this team isn't as far off as maybe we think it is. That's what I'm reading into that. We talked about Stafford, but there's articles out there that says that, oh yeah, he's going to keep Stafford because he said he was a great player. And then there's other articles that said, well, he didn't really commit to him. So I think he's going to go through everything on this team and evaluate it. I don't think anyone's safe. I really don't. The other thing he did when he mentioned the draft, there was two things that really stood out to me. That he drafts intangibles.
Yeah.
That is huge for me, because he says, I like to draft passion. If they don't have passion for the game, forget it. The other thing is he said reliability. He doesn't like to draft injured players. And what do we do in Detroit? We draft injured players.
We draft and sign and free agents and everything.
He said, I don't care if the talent's there, if the passion's not there and the reliability, forget it.
Yeah.
He says, I have my own process and I won't back down from that process. And he said that was the key things that he's looking for. For me, that is huge, because there's a lot of players that play on our team who take plays off. Excuse me. Take plays off, stuff like that. I don't like that kind of stuff. And then you have your Austin Bryants and Deshaun Hands and Kerryon Johnson to an extent, where they're just not available. So that was something huge that he brought up that I thought was very telling about his system. The other thing that I thought when he brought it up was, he says, they said that he has a bold plan. They asked him kind of what that was about. And he said, if you look at the Rams, we didn't hesitate bringing in big players or big moves or stuff like that, bold actions. So, well, they don't always work, but they trade number one picks quite a bit for like Jalen Ramsey and just awesome players, right? So they have more talent. This guy will build depth through the draft. He will trade for good players. He will use every avenue to get stars on our team. And let's be honest, folks, we already have the backup players. They're called some of our starters. So
most of them.
So I don't know how he's going to deal with the Kenny Galladay situation. That really wasn't brought up too much. But my overall consensus feel about him, I actually really like him. I think that there's something about him that I think that he's really good at one singular thing, and that is evaluating talent. And that is something we haven't had here in a long time.
Yeah.
Mike Disner is going to take some of the other responsibilities away from him. So all he has to do is build this roster.
Yep.
That's it. But he mentioned he's a servant. He said to the head coach, I have to provide him with the talent for his scheme and his thing. So it's not like he's just going to get players that he feels like he wants. He's going to have a working relationship with the head coach.
Yeah.
And they're going to make those decisions. Well, we had that supposedly with Patricia and Quinn. So we don't know how that's going to hold up. So we'll see. But that's my take on that whole.
I will say this about Quinn. He gave him what he wanted. He gave him the slow linebackers and all the backup Patriot players that he wanted to get. I
don't know what Okuda was his pick.
Yeah. Quinn gave him all the ex-Patriots and all the other guys that he coached in New England or whatever. Those guys that he made sure he gave him. One thing I will say, the one intangible that I like that Brad Holmes listed was explosive. He wants explosive players. And you look out there at the Rams, they have a lot of explosive players on that team. I mean,
They do.
So I think there's going to be. I think the retool is going to be really good. I'm excited. Am I overly joyed about the press conference? Yeah, there's always some things that can be you kind of look at it with a side eye, but I do like his passion for the game, and I like what he said about his process. As he said, one of the drinking game keywords. So I'm excited to see what he does. He has to jump on it right away, because you look at it. The combine is not going to be as it was. So remote workouts and things of that nature. So he's going to be with the switch of the combine process. He's going to be busy day one. And he came in the building. If you look at the video where he first came in the building, straight to work. He came and he's ready to get to business. So he's about that action, boss. So I'm happy to see where he's going to go for the next one.
I'm looking forward to it. I like the fact that he said he likes to build a competitive team every year. He doesn't believe in the rebuild idea.
Yeah.
And in the NFL, with the amount of turnover that you have, it shouldn't take long.
Nope, it should not.
So anyway, let's go to the comment cards now, and let's get your take on yesterday's video and just everything you want to talk about in general. Izzy777 says, if I'm the forward, I give Wade Phillips anything and everything he wants to be defensive coordinator. Then I'll put a bright young mind to learn everything about Wade Phillips and his defense while he's here, and I think we'd be set. I agree with that. I really do.
Yeah, you just said that too.
I did.
Yeah.
Wonder where I got it from, right? No,
yeah. But that could be a way to go. Neil Feldposh. I think I'm saying that weird name, right?
You are, yep.
Feldposh. All right, you guys are always a nice listen. I like Wade Phillips a lot. I'd rather Campbell go with a young and up-and-coming type guy. He has so many ties to possible assistants. Greg Williams, no, I just don't like him. Best to you guys always. Now, that's where I kind of agree, and that's where the Aaron Glenn thing comes in, where he's an up-and-coming young guy, where he can bring some fired-up passion on those sidelines. But Wade Phillips is a legend in the game, and he can do that. He can he can do the job with his proven track record.
The Dirty Nasties 4x4 says, not Greg Williams. How can this even be a possibility? I'm like, he has ties to both people, so I think that's where that came up from. Yeah. And this is a long time ago when he did this bounty thing, and I don't like it either. I don't really want Greg Williams. I'll be honest about it. I don't like it.
I don't like Greg Williams either. I don't like that hire. I wouldn't be overly joyed if we hired Greg Williams myself. All right. Friend of the show, you can call me Funk, says the argument against keeping Golladay is simple. Dude had a hip injury last year. He couldn't create separation before it. Yes, he's great at going up, but I would love to see someone else catch the ball in stride and keep moving.
I agree with him. Yeah, there's 18 million reasons why we shouldn't do it. But.
Yeah, I mean, I like Golladay. That's he's one of those guys where I know in the red zone you can get him the ball and he's going to score a touchdown. That's why I like him.
Yeah, but we got Hawkinson for that too.
Yeah, true.
We underuse him in the end zone. I think.
Man, I was so badly. And he still made it.
I'll tell you this: I think one of our best weapons on the goal line is DeAndre Swift.
Yes, he is.
Because he can. They can fake it to him, and go out for a pass. He could dive over the middle. He's a really good running back. He's only going to get better, I think. What a funny name. Chuck forgot. So did I, Chuck. Don't worry about it. Defensive coach Wade, offensive coordinator Brett Favre. Wow, I hadn't even heard that name.
Brett Favre?
I
don't know about that one. Brett Favre? I don't know, man. I don't know about Brett Favre being I know he coaches a high school team down in Mississippi, but
yeah, that's awfully close to being an offensive coordinator in the NFL.
Yeah,
but he is Brett Favre.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. He's been away from the game too long for me. I don't know.
I'm not sure about the Brett Favre.
It is interesting though if you start thinking about it. It's fairly interesting.
Yeah, it is. Last one, Rod Love 313, friend of the show. What up, Rod Love? He said, new blood for me. Aaron Glenn, the Saints defensive back coach for the defensive coordinator. And that's one of the reasons why we did this video today. I mean, we kept hearing the same thing over and over again. Yesterday on all the major outlets was Aaron Glenn's going to be the guy.
Yeah, it was everywhere that he was the next defensive coordinator.
It was every freaking where.
But it may not be true.
Yeah, that's very true. Hey, let's get into these news and rumors. What you got, Jim?
Potential late round draft pick. Former Gators linebacker Ventrell Miller could provide badly needed depth for the Detroit Lions. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. But my thing is also we have depth players already right now, but they're super slow. So we have to figure out what we're doing with that linebacking core. You know what I mean?
Very true.
We also have to figure out if we're going to be a 4-3 or 3-4. And a lot of these things will be decided in the next, I would say, a week. I think a week, and we have our defensive coordinator, our head coach, and maybe even our offensive coordinator by this time next week.
Yeah. It's, you know what though, and I will say this: hope springs eternal, and in the spring, when it comes around free agency and stuff like that, people think it's so far away. Think about it.
Not very far.
We're going into the last week of January here. We're very shortly. February only has 28 days, so March and free agency will be here before you know it, in the blink of an eye. And I'm ready. I'm happy to get there. NFL announces some major changes to the scouting combine due to COVID-19. The typically centralized event in Indianapolis will be no more, and it is in place with a combination of regionalized medical checks, more formalized pro workout days, and plenty of virtual meetings and more. The NFL sent a memo to all 32 teams Monday detailing the changes as the league continues to adapt their offseason plans to account for health and safety concerns amid the pandemic. Now, this is coming from Draft Wire. I know there's plenty of articles out there how everything is going to be. I'm happy and excited to see how they're going to kind of change it, where you're going to have some, workouts that are going to be probably going to be streamed. So, it's going to be a good thing to see that.
I think so too. There are major changes coming up. And I think, honestly, the NFL may maintain some of these changes even after COVID. It makes things so much easier. The travel expenses are a lot less. People don't have to, for interviews and things like that, they don't have to be there in person. I think that it's going to be better for the NFL always around later. But I think the individual interviews with players and stuff like that, one-on-one, will still happen at some point. I think that that's invaluable information for teams, and I don't think that's going to go away once this is over. I think we'll revert back to that. I don't think I'm not sure we'll ever have the event we used to have at the combine. I'm not sure about that.
The Underwear Olympics. That's what.
The Underwear Olympics. Yes. That's Detroit Lions GM Brad Holmes. This will be a retooling, not a long-term rebuild. We kind of touched on this already, but this is from the Detroit Free Press. Reiterating what we were saying, the ultimate goal is to make sure we have a competitive team on the field. And that starts this year, entering the 2021 season, not viewing this as this will be a long term. I don't know how long it's going to take. That's not the approach. That's not the mindset going into it. The approach is to make sure that we can put the most competitive team possible out there in 2021. I love that.
You know what though? And here's the deal for me that kind of, I like this comment, is that if you look at what Matt Patricia said when he first got here, it's going to take a while for us to kind of get things the way I want them. So, it's not going to be built in a day. We're going to be long term. This is going to be take 2 or 3 years to get it where we want it. And 2 or 3 years later, it was worse off than when he got here. So.
Because I think that it shows, for me, it shows confidence. Because he's not saying, guys, be patient. It's going to be a while. I can screw up for the first couple of years and still get paid. No, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. He's like, no. No, we're trying to get a competitive team next year.
Yeah.
We're not worried about 3 years there now.
Yeah, he's holding his team, himself and the team to a higher standard.
Absolutely. And I like that. Now he has to back it up, because he said something in this press conference that he said, well, I want to be competitive right away. when you say things like that, like 9-7 isn't good enough, or we want to be competitive in 2021, or, this isn't going to be a rebuild, this is a retool. And, those type of statements can get you fired.
They definitely can. And he was very careful to say that several times in the press conference that he said it was not a long-term rebuild, but a retool in some areas. Now he did say there are some things that's going to need some long-term. I mean, he's going to need some overhaul, but not the whole entire team. He said the building blocks are in place. He did say that, so I do like that. All right, let's go. 3 offensive coordinators Dan Campbell could bring into Detroit. The first one is the already offensive coordinator we have, interim head coach Darrell Bevell. Offense was not the main struggle of the team. Matthew Stafford and Bevell have a strong rapport. All right, number 2, former Los Angeles Chargers head coach Anthony Lynn. Lynn and Campbell were on the Cowboys staff together in 2005. Lynn would help with Detroit's struggling run game. Lynn has reportedly been in talks with Seattle as well. He had a pretty good strong run game out there at the Chargers. Number 3, former Eagles head coach Doug Peterson. Peterson won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles and would be a great pair with Matthew Stafford. It is rumored but he's rumored to want to stay a head coach. Now, this is coming from the All Lions Fan Nation article written as these 3 possible offensive coordinator candidates for Detroit, and we just might have to do some. Look at and do some profiles on some of these.
We'll do some OC stuff when it comes out. But I find this extremely interesting, and I wanted to say this when we were talking about the Darrell Bevell thing. His name hasn't come up anywhere that I can find, like for a head coach or offensive coordinator. I don't see him going to any interviews. Is there a thing where he is going to be the offensive coordinator? Because I haven't heard anything about our OC.
I haven't heard anything moving anywhere. And it's a possibility that whoever the coaches that they interview, maybe they said, hey, what do you think about keeping him on staff? You look at the offense wasn't our issue last year. So
and the thing is also, Bevell was the head coach before, right? And he knows this team in and out. If he was retained as the offensive coordinator, right, he would be invaluable to Dan Campbell.
Yeah, definitely.
And even our DC, we could go ahead and hire Aaron Glenn because there we have the strong, figure in Bevell that could kind of keep everybody, give everybody more information.
Yeah,
but I find it. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, he provides a level of continuity. That's
absolutely. That's what I was looking for. And the thing with Darrell Bevell is, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I haven't really searched it so much, but let me know if I'm right or wrong. I have not heard Darrell Bevell's name attached to any team in the NFL. I haven't
heard his name at all, besides him being the interim head coach for the Lions. That's it. That's all I heard.
Okay, so we're done with that. It's just food for thought,
Yeah.
Detroit Lions GM Brad Holmes sounds like he wants to keep Matthew Stafford. Holmes says he plans to evaluate the entire roster, but his remarks on Stafford were all positive. Matthew's a great player, Holmes said. What you really appreciate, I think his talent level is easy to see, but what you really appreciate is how his intangibles show on film. Just how urgent he plays, how competitive he is, and the toughness that he shows. You know what? There's parts of me that agree with this, and there's parts of me that don't, because what specifically he says here is the intangibles. And what did he say in the press conference? I look for intangibles. This is the number one thing I look for, besides talent, obviously. But he says Matthew Stafford has all of this, but he also goes to say, he's going to evaluate the whole roster. He doesn't call Stafford safe either.
No, he does not. He doesn't say that. And he's not kind of non-committal about Stafford. He was just like, okay, he's a good guy. He's on the team. He's a good player, or he's a great player. But I will evaluate everything. So, I mean, but that's kind of the right statement to say too, as well.
Yep.
Yeah. And last but not least, okay, a few days ago, we did a show. We were talking about Deshaun Watson being a possible replacement for Matthew Stafford, and we were talking about him not having a no trade clause. But yesterday, Good Morning Football did report that Deshaun Watson does indeed have a no trade clause. So anywhere that he's trying to go, he has to approve of the trade. So will he sign off on getting traded to Detroit if the Lions move on from Matthew Stafford? I don't see it unless Brad Holmes is giving him something and Dan Campbell giving him something that he really can't say no to. Or like the Godfather would say, they make him an offer he can't refuse. So it's one of those things. So I don't see that happening, but it could, but what does that say? You don't put anything past anyone.
That's true. That's absolutely true. I'll go to the question of the day now. And the question of the day is, what do you think of Aaron Glenn if he does come to Detroit? And if he doesn't, who would you want for defensive coordinator? Because now there's a possibility he does not come here. And remember to play the drinking game that we had earlier. So if you watch the press conference, every time they say he blew me away with Rod Wood and Sheila Ford Hamp, you take a drink. And every time that our new GM Brad Holmes says the process. There you go. You have to take a drink. And if you just want to get hammered, this is a way to do it, guys. So just having fun with it. So, never mind us. And now it's time for my favorite part of the show, the dessert with Curt.
All right, Fan Nation, all Lions gave out some rookie grades for the Lions 2020 draft class. Now let's get some highlights of that. We have running back DeAndre Swift. They rated him as a B-. Now, another high grade was Jonah Jackson. We rated a B. He really played very well for the team. And one of the surprises is that his early start really was slow, dropped a lot of passes, but Quintez Cephas garnered a B as well. But some of the guys who got a B as well was definitely John Pennicini, good tackler. Some of the guys who did not grade so well, Jason Huntley got an
Stenberg.
F. Of course, he wasn't one on the team that long. Stenberg, F. Definitely did not even see the field as well. Defensive end or edge rusher Julian Okwara got a D+. So, and last but not least, the number one overall pick for the Lions of 2020, the first round pick, Jeff Okudah with a big old D. He is bringing down the curve. So,
I have one question here. Are they not giving out A's?
They didn't give out any A's. It was all B.
Because I'll tell you, I thought Pennicini deserved an A.
Yep.
Because of the placement of where he was drafted compared to what he contributed to this team. Mm-hmm. I thought Jonah Jackson deserved an A. Yeah. And I think DeAndre Swift, not a B-, B+, because of the injury.
Yep. I think those players, but you can go out to All Lions Fan Nation to check that out. They do a wonderful job of keeping them abreast of the Lions news. But those grades have a grain of salt with them. You can see why someone like Okwara had a low grade just because he didn't get on the field, or Stenberg was probably the one that probably deserved that grade. I mean, he just wasn't able to get. He wasn't good enough to get on the field.
Yeah, as I talked about last time, when he was drafted, I said he's going to take a while because his bend isn't really that good, and they need to work on his flexibility, and that takes a while. I mean, it's going to take a while for him to come in and be the mauler that he could be, because he's really good. He's really good run blocker, but he's not a good pass blocker at all.
And that's what we do in Detroit. We pass the ball. We want somebody who can pass block.
Right. And the thing is I think that he will be more prevalent next year. We'll see. Mm-hmm. They may cut him. I don't know. Yeah. But I like the kid. I like the kid's attitude.
And shout out to my man Shiny J over at the Die Hard Dan podcast presented by Detroit Lions on the Prowl. Bo Ben Swazzle's still going. Okay. Yes,
All right, guys, we have a new platform that we're on. It's called Belly Up Sports. Go to their website. They have interesting articles. They have all kinds of podcasts, anything from pro wrestling to, I mean, just all kinds of stuff on there. Hockey. It's just really good stuff. So go over there and check that out. Also, we are now on Spotify, so you can take us on the go if you are traveling or if you're working out and you just can't focus on just the video. Now you can have us audio on Spotify, and we have that in the description below. Thank you, everybody who is rocking with us. What a wonderful group of people we have following us, and we really appreciate each and every one of you.
All right. Hey, you know what it is. We are Detroit Lions on the Prowl, your home for Detroit Lions news and rumors. Subscribe to the channel, join the family, comment on the videos, share the videos, like the videos. All of this help us get this content to more Lions fans just like yourself. And don't forget, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, weekdays, Monday through Friday, right here on our channel, premieres of our show. You can chat with us live in the premieres. And if you want to get your comment right up front, you could join with a super chat as well. And it's been a pleasure to bring you this content today. And you know what you got to do for us. Whatever you do in life, you got to boss up, ball out, and be the best version of you that you can be. Shout out to my man, Curtis Steele III, who you can hear in the background, from my man, Jim, right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl. This is Curtis Steele, and I will holler at you real soon.